Gold FM is #1 here in Sigatoka.
Gold FM is our favorite radio station here in Lautoka.
Gold FM is #1 in Nel.
I love listening to Gold FM in Ba.
We love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits here in Suva.
Hear about bottled cola, you immediately think of gold. I'm Josephine Sabi and I love hearing Gold FM.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
In this bulletin, police not ruling out possibility Fiji might be a regional hub for drug smuggling. More young offenders now behind bars. And police officer appears in court for failure to assist BICAC in investigations. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spade and this is FBC News. The Fiji Police Force has not ruled out the possibility Fiji might be a regional hub for drug smugglers following alarming seizures of cocaine in the country this week. A full-scale investigation into the drug finds revealed the presence of hard drugs and a suspected drug lab in Nandi. Christopher Chand reports.
Customs intercepted a cover sample which tested positive for cocaine at Nandi International Airport yesterday. The package had first been sent from Fiji to China by a local cover dealer. Suspicions were raised when the parcel was sent back.
The investigation from the police will surely go deeper and cover all angles. That means if the investigation leads us for overseas, for our team to go overseas and seek assistance from overseas partners, will do that. Just an effort to uncover those that are exporting and importing allegation of these illicit drugs.
This was the second major drug find in as many days following the discovery of suspected drugs in parcels being sent to an energy supplement company in Nandi, raising the suspicion it might have been functioning as an illegal drug lab.
The reason why I would like to get to the bottom is that to air out a warning to those that are there abroad that they cannot play around with law enforcement here in Fiji.
Police have a dedicated team investigating these shocking revelations that seem to indicate hard drugs on our streets.
Cannot rule that one out. Once we confirm that, then we can have a stand on it. But as of now, we cannot rule out the presence of hard drugs here in Fiji.
The recent discoveries of cocaine arrived from Hong Kong.
The trend is clear. From one point of entry to Fiji. So it does not normally go through other, but from here to where it goes to, that's another issue.
The Fiji police force now faces modern-day smugglers suspected of exploiting our borders. People convicted of smuggling illicit drugs in and out of the country can face penalties of up to $1 million in fines or be imprisoned for life or both. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
There is an increase in the number of youthful offenders behind bars in our corrections facilities. Mika Longa reports some are as young as 13 years old.
It is very challenging.
Assistant Commissioner Corrections Services William Mbulewa told the Gold FM Talkback show today the number of young offenders behind bars is quite high.
It's a total of 328 out of that 1,488. So 22%, it makes up, comprises 22% of young offenders being incarcerated. So it's a great challenge.
The Corrections Services is calling on the church, the Vanua, families and communities to assist with reducing the number of young people ending up in the wrong side of the law. As part of its efforts, the Corrections Services has arranged further education for young offenders at the Fiji National University.
In order for us to break the Fiji Corrections Service to break the crime cycle, so we make sure that these inmates, they are guided well.
Meanwhile, the Corrections Services has also noted an increase in the number of people in their 40s in its facilities.
These are the ones who are supposed to be in the workforce. So we have a total of about 85% from 40 years down. So you'll note that the Fiji Corrections Service is really having a young population.
The Corrections Services has noticed an increase in the number of inmates in our corrections facilities from 894 in 2011, 1,041 in 2013, and the number currently stands at 1,488. The Corrections Services aims to bring down the number of inmates in our corrections facilities by 50% this year through the implementation of programs and initiatives. Nikolonga, FBC News.
A senior police officer has been charged with obstructing and failing to assist the Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption in an ongoing investigation. FICAC has charged Assistant Superintendent Peter Kenny for 1 count of failure to render assistance and 1 count of resisting or obstructing officers. It is alleged he failed to cooperate in an ongoing bribery investigation against a former police officer. Kenny has been released on bail under strict conditions imposed by the Nandi Magistrates Court this afternoon and has been told not to reoffend and to surrender his travel documents. This is the first time charges have been laid against someone for obstructing FICAC investigations. The increasing number of ships moored in Suva Harbour has raised some public concern. Come next week, owners of the ships will have to answer to the Fiji Ports Corporation on how much longer they intend to stay and why. Eleanor Tarangaivu reports.
Majority of these fishing vessels out on the Suva Harbour are from China, Taiwan, Korea or Japan, and some have been here for a month or 2.
Some of them have more or less been servicing PEFCO, and some have come from Samoa to come and wait for provisions and not, because they were using Fiji more or less as a center port for them.
The Fiji Ports Corporation conducts a daily survey of the vessels here in the Suva Harbour. Today, there are more than 100 vessels stretching from here to Nranimbota in Lami. Fiji Port says this is the first time in many years they've seen this many vessels here at once.
Only for fishing vessels that service PEFCO, it's about 1 to 2 months. But then again, with this off-season fishing, especially when you know that tuna is a migratory species, they don't stay, so they more or less move around. They're here to be in time for another season. But then again, some are here just because of the annual survey. They have to go onto the slipway. Some are waiting for the parts. Some have got engine problems, and some are waiting for crew transfers.
Eminoni Kurusinga says Fiji Ports does not prohibit any vessel coming in unless it has been declared otherwise by the Fisheries Department. For a 100-ton vessel, the owner pays around $500 a month.
Whilst on anchors, they pay us anchors fees. There's nothing for free here, especially when they are overseas vessels. Of course, we are charging the same for local vessels as well. Because you know that all the fishing vessels that are here at the moment are not really of overseas owners. We've got fishing vessels that are locally owned, and some overseas vessels registered locally.
The Fiji Ports Corporation intends to seek the assistance of police in monitoring and reducing the number of vessels in the harbour.
We are working towards clearing all this and of course minimizing or reducing the number of fishing vessels that are here in the Port of Suva.
Kurusinga agrees the increase in fishing vessels in Suva creates congestion, and Fiji Ports is doing its utmost best to control the number. Eleanor Turangaivu, FBC News.
Turn down the music. LTA clamps down on electronic devices.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Singapore.
और किसके सुनिए यार, हमारा एक सच्चा साथी है मिर्ची एफएम लंबा साथी.
I love Mirchi FM. It's so hot.
देखे में लाल लाल, खाए में हाय हाय. Tangi tangi taupo में Mirchi FM is hot.
Here at Rugby Town, Singatoka, love listening to Mirchi FM. Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Suva. It's hot.
हम वहीं लंबा में रहता है. धोखे का बताइए हम मिर्ची एफएम सुनता है.
Mirchi FM, बहुत जुलूम जुलूम.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. Once the country's first female Deputy Prime Minister, Taufa Vakatale, says women need to be leaders in Fijian politics. Vakatale believes one way to ensure there is proper representation of women in Parliament is for them to form a political party and participate in the upcoming elections. Shireen Lata has more.
The former school teacher and now retired politician hopes to see political parties, including women candidates, to stand for the 2014 elections.
I would like to encourage them to come forward. I would like to encourage them to come forward and offer themselves as candidates. And why not in a political party? If we have more women than men, good. But at the same time, I would like to encourage women to vote for the party that stands. Ask the political parties that are standing, what's your policy on women?
When asked about women's abilities as leaders, Vakatale said women have a unique sense of leadership.
The men weren't taking women issues seriously, and then they would, the moment I said women's issues, or they'd laugh. I felt I was better than most of the men who were with me in Parliament.
Reflecting on her political career, Vakatale still remembers she had to work hard and fight her way through.
I see the women are so talented and so vocal and articulate, and they do things. They offer themselves to do things without being paid too. So they're much better than me, and much better than me at my time.
The former parliamentarian is also urging the current women leaders to play an important role in educating other women about the need to have a greater say at leadership roles. Sharin Lata, FBC News.
The Land Transport Authority is concerned about the number of drivers playing DVD movies while driving. The authority says some operators are installing electronic video devices in their vehicles without approval, which is illegal.
One cause of accidents on our roads is the use of unapproved electrical devices in vehicles. Approval needs to be made by the LTA before such devices are installed, and some drivers are taking it for granted as a way of providing enjoyment for their passengers and perhaps themselves. Overfitting of electrical devices has been cited as the cause of several bus fires and a danger to passengers. Some buses with advanced electronic devices have been approved by the authority after they fulfilled all the legal requirements.
Very, very important, and we would like to advise members of the public, especially PSV operators or drivers, that it is wrong by law for anyone to put any extra fittings that is not approved by the authority. And the whole reason is for us to ensure that the safety of the passengers and the public are not being compromised.
However, a driver says if the installation is checked properly by experts, then there should be no problem.
Provided the electrical devices are installed professionally and securely with all safety mechanisms and proper wiring and everything, I don't think it should be a big problem.
We can expect the LTA to ask drivers and vehicle owners to remove any DVD players, loud sound systems, and other electronic unapproved devices. Fines for violations can run from $50 to $200. Samira Tambua, FBC News.
Women who qualify for a pension payout dated back to the 1960s will have to wait a little longer. As Ritika Pratap reports, the delay could have been avoided if new applicants now showing up had worked with the Fiji Pensioners Association when the idea was proposed.
$2.5 million has been allocated for women who were working in the government but lost all retirement benefits after marriage. The payout was meant for about 50 women, but since the announcement, 301 women have come forward.
Once this thing was announced, then some of those members who were never awake and never bothered about it started rushing in and trying to contest the whole distribution of this pensions fund.
The Finance Ministry has set up a committee vetting all the applications to identify legitimate claims.
Some members who were entitled to much more than 50,000 and they tried to contest. There were executive officers, doctors, and then there were some typists and teachers who should get less. So it became a contest between those members. So I left it at that.
Our Treasury, a pension scheme, are doing the vetting to establish those that qualify and then to work on a formula for the payout, because we just have an identified amount which was announced during the budget.
Philimoni Wangabada says they'll try to accommodate as many women as possible.
If they are found to meet the criteria or eligible, we will have to accommodate them also in the payout, because that's the commitment that was made by government to pay those that were seen to be unfairly treated as a result of the rules that were developed at that point in time.
Retired female civil servants that married between 1961 and 1971 and lost all their benefits are the only ones catered for. The Finance Ministry is working on a formula, but some may have to wait until the next budget. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
Jamie joins us now with the latest in sports.
Good evening. Up ahead, Ben Ryan and the boys ready to rumble in Sokonpo. Talent Daudakadaka will bring us the latest after the break. And in the spirit of the Hong Kong Sevens, Fiji Airways launches Fly Like a Fijian campaign. Stay with us for the details.
Gold FM is #1 here in Sigatoka.
Gold FM is our favorite radio station here in Wautaka.
Gold FM is #1 in Nel.
I love listening to Gold FM in Ba.
We love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits here in Suva.
Hear about bottled cola, you immediately think of gold. I'm Josephine Sabi and I love hearing Gold FM.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Welcome back to FBC Sports. Just one day remains until the start of the much anticipated Hong Kong Sevens. The tournament was launched yesterday with lots of hype and fanfare, but the top 3 teams in the IRB series are all bent on getting down to business from tomorrow. Talent Daudakadaka files this story from Hong Kong.
The Hong Kong Sevens has a proud history of not only showcasing the wonderful game of rugby, but also the Chinese tradition. But it is obvious that these teams will have only one thing on their minds come game time, and that is to win. Series leaders South Africa will be out to break their hoodoo at Sokonpo Stadium.
Yeah, we played 3 finals here before. I think we lost one against New Zealand and then one against Fiji in 2008 and 2009. So I won't say it's a bogey tournament, and I think we showed in Wellington, where it was also said that that's a bogey tournament that we reached the final over there. So I think this team's got a different mindset and a different mentality towards tournaments, and hopefully we can do well in Hong Kong this year.
South Africa and New Zealand are in a fierce battle at the top of the points table, but Kiwi coach Gordon Tidgens believes it's not a two-way race yet.
I mean, it looks like that way on the points table, but there's also Fiji, which are certainly coming up from behind. I think no tournament's ever over until it's over, and it's sort of one tournament at a time for us, like it's one game at a time. So we're never a lot too far ahead, but at the moment, if you look at the points, it says that, but it certainly isn't.
Meanwhile, the sentimental value of the Hong Kong Sevens to Fiji is not lost on national coach Ben Ryan.
No, it's a tournament that the entire nation of Fiji, just under 1 million, will all be glued to the TVs on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. As many of them that can get across are getting across, and as I'm always told, you can lose every game all year. As long as you win Hong Kong, you'll be okay. Yeah, no pressure.
Tonight will be the calm before the storm for each of the 12 teams in the series. For the top 3 teams, it's a race to finish at the top of the pile. Chalendo Dakavak, FBC Sports.
It will be a rematch of last year's Hong Kong Sevens final when the Vodafone Fiji Sevens side takes on Wales in the pool stages. But it's not just the Dragons that the team is worried about. Its other 2 pool opponents pose a similar threat to our hopes of a hat-trick of cup titles in Sokonpo Stadium. Here's Talent Daudakadaka again.
Fiji has a successful history in Hong Kong, where they have won 14 times, including 2 Rugby World Cup titles. The side has plans to maintain their successive victories in the past 2 years. But first, they will need to overcome the group stages.
We have a very good pool, because we have the finalists from last year, Wales, and there's Kenya. Kenya is the unpredictable team, both Wales and Kenya. On a given day, they can beat any team, and Sri Lanka is a bit of an unknown. So it's going to be a very good pool.
The skipper gave his insights into the struggles the team faces in trying to achieve back-to-back victories.
It's really tough to go back-to-back after the first week, because in the second week, teams have analysts now. They study their game on the first week. It's all about getting your mental thinking right and getting the small things right and working on the mistakes you did on the last weekend and getting it right on the weekend you're going to play.
The side has set its goal on getting through their pool unscathed and maintain that performance to achieve a three-peat at the Mecca of Sevens. Chalendo the Kavak, FBC Sports.
National Sevens playmaker Emosi Mulevoro showed last week why he was chosen as one of the top players to watch at the Tokyo Sevens. The Navy playmaker has become one of Ben Ryan's key players in recent tournaments, orchestrating Fiji's offense as well as making crucial tackles from the sweeper's position. He will have another chance to shine this weekend in Hong Kong.
I'm sure he feels the heat of Nthungu on his toes, pushing hard for a starting spot, and that's meaning that both those players are playing really well at the moment. Emosi was, plays with his heart on his sleeve. He's diving at 50-50 balls. His work rate was excellent, and he was one of our standout players, as I'd expect. But he played terrifically well, and he needs to back that up again this weekend.
And finally, from Hong Kong, on a lighter note, Coach Ben Ryan has been kept busy, not only on the field, but at the dinner table as well, keeping a watchful eye on what his players eat.
Give them a little bit of, after tournament, they get this window where they can eat pretty much whatever they want, but they're banned from alcohol, banned from kava, and any sort of fast food. They just can't go and do it. And every meal, I'm at them at their plates. To do two things: make sure they're eating the right stuff and make sure they're not overeating, because they pile up if I'm not careful, and they've got these massive mountains. So a few of the big boys, they're not probably my best mates at the moment, because I'm cutting down a bit of the stuff they like.
Fiji's first game in Hong Kong is against Wales at 1:26 a.m. on Saturday. Fiji Airways has today launched its Fly Like a Fijian campaign in readiness for the popular Hong Kong Sevens. The campaign is a series of billboards at key locations celebrating Fiji Airways' partnership with Fiji Rugby Union under the FRU's new consortium sponsorship. Fiji Airways Managing Director Stefan Pickler says it goes without saying that the company is proud of Fiji and its rugby team. The new billboards can be seen in some of Fiji's main centres, Suva, Nandi and Lautoka, and currently feature Fiji Sevens reps Samisoni Viribiri and Benito Masilevu. While Fiji won't compete in rugby and netball at the Commonwealth Games, when it comes to other sports, we'll be there in Scotland come July. In a unanimous decision at the FASNOC AGM in Suva, National Sports Federation reps agreed that it was best not to boycott the event. Elena MacDonald has more.
It's the aspiration of all athletes to compete against the best in their sport. At FASNOC's AGM in Suva last night, 3 items topped the agenda: the appointment of new executives, the strategic plans leading up to the next Olympic Games, and of course, Fiji's participation in the Commonwealth Games in June this year. Fiji Rugby Sevens and netball may miss this upcoming Commonwealth Games, but Fiji will have competitors in other sports in Scotland.
All athletes are targeting Pacific Games in Papua New Guinea next year and in Olympic Games in Rio, and therefore their participation in Glasgow is part of that preparation process.
Javelins Leslie Copeland, judoka Chosateki Naulu and weightlifter Apollonia Vaivai automatically qualify as sports scholars, whereas lawn bowls, swimming, table tennis and triathlon have until June to confirm participation. As usual, finances is a challenge for Fiji, and FASNOC is looking to tap into grants and from their own money reserves to send a team over.
After we do our sums, and as we speak, there is a team working on that to find out how much money we will have to play with.
Moulding medal prospects for the Olympic Games is the ultimate goal for FASNOC. Competing against the world's best in the Commonwealth Games is sure to help Fiji athletes get a step closer to reaching that all-time target. Elena MacDonald, FBC Sports.
And that was your sports for tonight. Good evening.
Bulla Island Food Supplies Limited, a local agribusiness outlet out of Nandi, has completed its first consignment of around 13 tons of frozen vegetables, fruit, root crops and fish for the USA. 5 similar shipments are expected to be completed by the end of this year. The business previously had been exporting local fruit, vegetables and root crops only to Australia. However, since 2012, it's been helped by the increasing agricultural commodity trade project to expand its exports. This project is part of a European Union-funded initiative implemented by the Land Resources Division of the Secretariat of the Pacific Community. Managing Director Narayan Naidu says their happy Fiji-grown products have begun to capture a small share in the vast and expanding US market. Bulla Island has been able to increase its export volume from 457 tonnes to around 720 tonnes over the past 2 years. Weather time now, and Jen, when you said it would rain today, you sure weren't kidding.
Are you sure I said that, Jackie? I mean, I know you've got problems with your hearing at the moment. Jokes aside, as I mentioned yesterday, it poured cats and dogs today. And not just in the capital, but throughout Fiji. Mombasa and the western side did have some sunshine this morning though. Time for temperatures, we've got Suva, Nandi and Lautoka on 32 degrees Celsius, Pai and Mombasa are on 33, and then there's Savu Savu on 30. Going global now, mostly cloudy Honolulu, Hawaii is on 24 degrees Celsius today, while partly cloudy Hong Kong is at 27 degrees Celsius. Another rainy day tomorrow, but that's all right because Friday is our favorite working day. That strong wind warning remains in force, rough seas are forecast, and southeast winds will be at 20 to 25 knots. This photo from Namosi today, and it just reminds me of my alma mater, Jasper Williams, sturdy as a rock. I'm sure you're also one very happy old girl, Jackie, since St. Joseph's won their zone yesterday.
I definitely am. Thanks so much for that, Genevieve. Recapping the headlines, police not ruling out possibility Fiji might be a regional hub for drug smuggling, more young offenders now behind bars, and police officer appears in court for failure to assist FICAC in investigations. Moving on to our poll question now, we're asking, do you think Pio Tuai and Setefano the Cow have revitalized the Fiji Sevens team? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. That's news for tonight. Good evening.
Talita na radio Fiji One na mwirani nonda kunua.
Ando talita kana borrongo na radio Fiji One singa toka mboleta ni station ni alumatua.
Ando talita kabale una borrongo na radio Fiji One station ni alumatua ilo toka.
Ando talita kabale una borrongo na radio Fiji One mandi na station ni alumatua.
Au tungo korvo ando borrongo leva na station ni alumatua na radio Fiji One.
Ando borrongo na radio Fiji One na station ni alumatua na mandoi tele.
Na radio Fiji One nando moi bitin bonga ni bienan.